Hey everybody, welcome back. These people are exes for a reason.
My mum had to drive me to the STI clinic.
As soon as she left for work, a girl was in. He's got his arms wrapped around her and kisses her forehead.
I'm gonna give you 10 seconds to get up and go home.
Part 1, who the f did I marry? There's only one part, but I'm still gonna go in. Okay, so I've had 3 boyfriends. This is about one of them, and I'm not gonna give away too many identifying features in case I get sued. Let's get into it.
Trying to get
I was with
sued.
this guy for a number of years. It was amazing, and he got on with my friends. He was like hanging out with my family. It was amazing, honestly, too good to be true. It was the day of my final college exam. I did a music degree, so it was this big kind of performance thing in front of everybody, and he was coming to that, obviously. And then I get a text just before I go on the stage, and he's like, hey, I can't come, I'm really sick. And I was like, okay, it's obviously the man flu, so like suck it up, get it together, and come in. And he's like, no, I'm really sick, I'm in the hospital and I have to get tests done. And I was like, okay, great.
Oh.
And I do my performance, yada yada yada. He's like, I'm just gonna wait for the result of these tests. So then a couple of weeks later, he gets the result and he has a really serious blood disease. And he has to go on this medication that basically meant that we couldn't have sex because it was giving him some issues. A couple of weeks pass, I'm in the cinema watching A Star is Born with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper, the one where the boyfriend dies. You know that one?
Yes.
I'm watching that movie and he calls me and he's like, it's leukemia. So I have some sort of a fit in the cinema after finding this out. Because I was like, cool, that's going to be me. My boyfriend's going to die. You know, you just think the worst.
Oh
in
my
these
gosh.
situations. So I was spiraling and I was with my 3 closest girlfriends and I will always thank them for this. I literally couldn't go home and tell my parents why I was hysterically crying. So my 3 closest girlfriends came into the house and they sat down with my mum and explained everything to her, and I will always be grateful to them for that. One of my closest friends is, I won't say her job, but she would like understand medical stuff. So she was kind of explaining really everything. A couple of months pass and he's just on this weird treatment and he won't get chemo, but he's on this weird treatment for his leukemia. He was a bit kind of like big pharma's out to get us kind of vibe. He did think that he could cure this illness with gardening. He thought that would cure it. We went through a phase of him thinking that, and yeah, we had to talk some sense into him. I remember this one New Year's in particular, he was speaking to one of the girls and like really letting her know the gravity of the situation and the seriousness of like how bad his illness was, and telling her all the medication that he was taking, and it was this weird treatment. So she goes and tells the medical friend, and the medical friend is like, that doesn't check out. That's not what you would be taking.
No! Don't tell me he's lying about having cancer, please. Don't go there. I don't know what's going on with content on like Netflix and stuff like that right now, but there's a lot of content about people who lie about having cancer. It's this like weird phenomenon. It's not just cancer, you know what I mean? It's a very strange narcissistic thing to do, like sociopathic thing to do, to lie about being sick. Like in general, you can lie about having cancer, you can lie about being sick or whatever, but like when you do that, you essentially make everyone want to take care of you, and you never have to take responsibility for anything because you're sick, and everybody has to rush to your bedside because you're sick. It doesn't matter how you behave because you're sick.
Give me special treatment.
I hate it when people weaponize things like health and mental health. You gotta be a special kind of evil to do that to people you love.
And they had to confront me after this party and let me know, put the idea in my head that maybe this wasn't true. So he has leukemia, he's getting this weird treatment, he can't really do anything, he can't work, so he's not working. My parents are like kind of helping him. He's got my granny lighting candles down in mass. Like, bear in mind, this man is like maybe 6 years older
Not
than
the
us.
candles.
And we were quite young, but one day I'm sitting in my parents' house in the kitchen beside my mom. He's on his way over and my mom is making him food. And he calls me and he was like, I can't come over today. And I was like, okay, why? Like, what's wrong? And he was like, I don't have leukemia. And I was like, oh my God, amazing. Like, the treatment worked. Let's go celebrate. Like, what's
Good
wrong? And he
news.
was like, no. I never had leukemia. And I was like, my mom is sitting beside me and she can hear this conversation and she's like, and we're just looking at each other. And he was like, I am sick though. I have been sick. I haven't been faking my illness. He says that for the last 9 months, he has actually had chlamydia.
I'm sorry, what were you about to say?
Couldn't get rid of it.
He couldn't get rid of it? That must have been some pretty bad chlamydia if you couldn't get rid of it. I'm just saying. Couldn't get rid of it. Just couldn't get rid of it. Don't you just like take a little pill and you wait like a little while and then you have to tell everybody you know? There's two things that's happening here. Either he had a nasty bout that was like immune to antibiotics, or he was cheating repeatedly with the same person that had chlamydia and he kept getting it. It just kept passing it back and forth. Sorry. I don't mean to laugh. Actually, I do. I'm sorry. It's baffling to me, like the excuses. And then not only that, but also not telling you, because if he tells you, then he also has to admit that he's seeing somebody else. But also, wouldn't you also have to go and get that kind of figured out? So by avoiding telling you, he's also putting you at risk. Like, did you have it too? I'm sorry. Let's carry on.
Chill.
And he kept doing round after round of antibiotics, and the constant being on antibiotics was making his immune system so weak, and that was actually what was wrong with him. So obviously I was like, do I have chlamydia? And he was like, yeah, like obviously for the 4 years we've been together, I've had this since the beginning. I obviously had it when I met you, and I just figured it out late. I, like an idiot, was like, okay, I believe you. My mum had to drive me to the STI clinic, get the test, and then obviously a couple of days later, it comes back negative. And I was like, okay, I don't have it.
He's
you
cheating.
got it from somewhere. Where did you get it? And he was like, well, obviously you've been on antibiotics in the time that I've known you. So, like, obviously got rid of it by taking antibiotics for, like, tonsillitis or something else. And I was like, no, I have not been on antibiotics at all in the time that I've known you. So that's not true. And then he was just like, yeah, sorry, oops, I cheated on you.
Oops.
You know, at least he made up this whole lie, and so that I wouldn't sleep with him, so that I wouldn't get it. That was so sweet and so nice of him. He didn't want me
that's
to get
good.
chlamydia. So
Silver
I actually
linings.
didn't tell my friends about this for maybe over a year. We just broke up and I didn't really say why. And I didn't tell them for like a year, and then eventually I told them he didn't have cancer. Oh well. If you like this, you can read the book that I wrote about my life. It's in my Instagram bio. It's about a different guy who did something even worse to me. Or you can just listen to my podcast, Hot Potato Queens, where I will just talk shit about all of them all the time.
Did you just say hot potato queens? Oh my God. I feel like we're like, you know, I am also a potato queen, not a hot potato queen. Like a 7 out of 10 potato queen.
Humble.
Girl, I stand by my original statement. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a doctor. Not a lawyer either. I am a professional shit talker though. So I think that he was just like repeatedly cheating and like passing it back and forth. That's crazy that you didn't get it though. Like you must have like not, or like, you know, using, you know, I can't really get into the specifics because YouTube will demonetize this video. No, I feel like he was just like passing it back and forth between the person that he was cheating on you with and him. Cause like if you had it, that would make sense because you were passing it back and forth, right? But like how is it that you were with this guy, you didn't get it, but he had it and couldn't get rid of it? How are you not embarrassed? So makes sense that he's your ex for a reason. I don't think I'd be able to live with that either. Lying about having cancer, gets your sympathy, plays the victim, and then eventually has to admit, no, it's actually me. I'm the horrible person that's been cheating. Nona's lighting a candle at church for you. God, the audacity. I'm dead.
I used to live with a guy who cheated on his girlfriend constantly. I mean, like 24/8. As soon as she left for work, a girl was in. She would pop to Sainsbury's to do a shop and he'd have the neighbour over for a quickie. It was actually kind of insane.
Ew.
And when I first moved in, it was me and my boyfriend and her boyfriend. In the first month or so, I sort of thought she knew. Because he was so brazen and did it so often, I couldn't comprehend how she couldn't know. That this roster of regular women and the occasional random woman would come into our house all of the time. Because the girls would leave stuff. They would leave stuff in the kitchen, they would leave makeup. At one point she came to me with size 8 underwear and was like, are these yours? Oh. I look like I wear size 8 underwear. The other thing was, and this is graphic so I'm so sorry, but his boss and her boss, who he used to bring over regularly, she would make a mess. and he would love it when she made a mess.
Oh!
I did most of the washing for the house, so he starts trying to give me these sheets. And I tell him, like, I am not putting that in with my clothes. Those sheets need a boil wash away from everything else. So when his girlfriend came home from the gym or wherever she was, and she's like, oh, why didn't Pia put the wash in with her clothes? He tells her he had a nap when he was feeling anxious and weaved the bed. So then she would clean his messy sheets after he cheated on her. At some point, I didn't tell her directly he was cheating, but I heavily inferred it. I wasn't sure at this point if she was in denial or if she really just did not know. He realizes, has a meltdown, like the meltdown of all meltdowns. She smashed everything he owns. Holes in the wall, Hulk smashing up our house.
Fair.
The next day, I actually went to make pancakes, and as I was putting sugar on my pancake, I found glass in the sugar.
Stop!
At that point, I realized she'd smashed everything in the kitchen, including all of my stuff.
Whoa,
Next
whoa,
time
whoa.
I saw her, she screamed at me that she hated me. And I was so confused because I told you. This couple got back together and they both hated me. Him because I guess I told her, and her because I don't know. I don't know if he gaslit her into thinking he didn't cheat.
I feel like she thought that you were also cheating. Yeah, you know what? Okay, he gaslit her to the point that it was like, oh, it's not happening, it's not happening. She hated you because you were saying all these things about him. I don't know.
She thought I was lying. That's the only reason it would make sense that she would hate me. But we lived in the same house and she didn't speak to me for 8 weeks. He slept with our neighbours, his ex-girlfriends, his friends, her friends. One of the people he was sleeping with before she caught him and after was their boss. He was a married woman, twice our age, with young kids. And every time she heard my boyfriend downstairs in an open area, she would like run down in her underwear to get a glass of water or something.
Stop!
She really wanted my boyfriend to look at her. But she wasn't the best dressed cougar. She was in like nude bras and nude granny pants all the time. And this woman's name was really similar to his girlfriend's name. For an example, I'm gonna say they're called Anna and Anna. And Anna was around so often that we started messing up her name with Anna. Genuine accident, but at this point Anna almost lived at the house as much as Anna did.
Is anyone else really curious what this guy looks like? Because how? Like literally how? How does one have the audacity like this? Like he either looks like Hercules in every way, or he's just so unbelievably charming. It's one of the two. Like I've seen guys that are not like physically attractive get away with a lot because like maybe they're really funny or really charming, like charismatic, you know?
I am Steve.
First of all, this is nasty. Like, this is gross. Like, I'm worried for your health, his health at this point. Anyone that's around him, I'm worried for their health, especially with regards to the last story we listened to. How do you have time for all this? How do you juggle all this? Crazy.
Anna catches on to this and she's suspicious because she knows that her boyfriend is good friends with their boss. At this point, I told her that he was cheating on her and she responded by not speaking to me for 8 weeks, smashing my stuff and telling me she hates me. So as much as I hate Anna being around, I'm not getting involved. Then one day we're having a little party, drinks are flowing, it's both couples and we have some other people over as well. Something happens at the party where Anna, the girlfriend, finds something. I genuinely can't remember now if it was an earring or a bracelet, something like that, but something that she knows categorically is Anna's. She's asking everyone in the house, does this belong to you? And everyone's being like, no. My boyfriend comes over to me and tells me to tell her it's mine. I say, hell no, no.
Excuse
she continues
me?
to have this breakdown because she has now realised that he is having an affair with Anna.
Not your boyfriend being like,
Just take one for the team and say it's yours.
this is an absolute mess. Hold on. I'm not a fan of your boyfriend either. Listen, I understand that this guy is your housemate, but like that constant revolving door of people and also like your safety is now compromised. Like if you hadn't seen that shard of glass while you were cooking, that's your safety. I can't even fathom how you're hanging out with these people. Girl.
Let alone all the other women. But her boss, she's screaming and crying. She then, while manically screaming, runs out of the house. They find her phone that she has just chucked in a bush somewhere. And this girl is actually currently going through a divorce. So I knew Anna had a husband she was separated from. They were selling the house together. It was all on good terms. But I knew this man was like her childhood sweetheart and she'd known him for 10 years and everyone else wanted to call the police. But I was like, seeing what she was going through, I wanted the police to be a last resort. I didn't want it to affect her job. I didn't want her to get in trouble because of the way she was acting. Because the police don't always take kindly to people having mental breakdowns. So I pick up her phone and I say, hey Siri, call her husband.
I'm still having problems with the connection.
He answers the phone and I say, hi, I'm Pia, I live with Anna and I'm really worried about her. We need to find her now before we call the police. He says, what do you mean you live with Anna? And then he says, are you in a totally different part of the country? And I'm like, no, I'm in Surrey. I'm where Anna lives. And he's like, can I have a postcode? And I was like, yeah. She told me this guy was her best friend, even though they'd separated. So I didn't understand how he didn't know where she lived. He's not far away, so he races over in his car, picks me up, and we go to look for her. I then see his phone in the cradle, and their wedding photo is his phone background. He starts to ask me questions, and why Anna is not at her mum's where he thought she was.
So wait, she's cheating too. Oh, absolutely not. Nope. I'd be out of that house so fast. No way, dude. Not my circus, not my monkey. I don't understand people who invite like chaos like that into their lives. Just like a small interaction in which there was like a bit of a miscommunication will make me stressed out for like 2 weeks. How do you handle this? How? Why choose this, you know? Like, I think let's all collectively decide that if there's a person or persons in our lives that is just constantly bringing chaos and mess and drama, like unnecessary. It's different if like there's something genuinely bad going on in a friend's life or a boyfriend's life or a girlfriend's life or whatever. If there's something genuinely going on and you know, they're just down on their luck, whatever. But I mean someone who constantly creates drama and it constantly follows them around. It's not good for you. It's not worth it. Both as a friend and as a partner, it's not worth it.
Deal.
In the title, it says ex-housemate. So I'm assuming you got out of there and I'm very glad that you did. He's an ex for a reason. God, I'm just so protective of my peace. I used to tolerate a lot more when it came to people who were very chaotic. And like, I'll allow it when it comes to people that I really, really care about. But when it starts affecting my life, the chaos is constantly surrounding them. It's entertaining at first, right? It's entertaining. It's like, oh my gosh, she's so drama, or like, oh my God, it's just like invites all this drama. It's so funny. It's entertaining. It's not entertaining when you're involved, okay? And it's only a matter of time before you are the focus of the drama.
It'll happen to you.
So heaps of people are talking about what they'd do if their boyfriend had a girl best friend. And I thought I'd share my experience because my ex did. Initially, I was fine with her. They stopped going on their dates that they would go on, except for going to the market together every Saturday morning. So a few weeks into our relationship, a message popped up from her on his phone while he was driving, and I grabbed his phone and I unlocked it because I knew his password. And I said, oh, this person texted you. And he snatched the phone out of my hand and started yelling at me, saying that that's an invasion of privacy.
Cheater!
And that
Cheater!
I shouldn't look through his messages. I was just so taken aback because that was really out of character for him. And I was like, okay, but I wasn't going to go through your whole phone. I was just going to see what she was messaging you saying.
He's cheating. He's a traitor. Anybody that freaks out like that, like unless you're planning a proposal, they're doing something they shouldn't be doing.
And I even said to him, that is a massive red flag.
It is.
What the heck? And he's just like, I'm just not comfortable with it. Like, it's an invasion of privacy. And so I was like, okay, like, I guess I'm crazy then. Like, so obviously I started getting less comfortable with this girl. And fast forward a little while, I'm at a festival with him and all his friends, and she's there as well. And we are in the mosh pit. It's getting close to the end of the night, and I look over at them, and he's got his arms wrapped around her and kisses her forehead for like,
no!
He lingered. It was there for a minute.
No, I'm sorry. The forehead kiss, the going to the market, the farmer's market, that's some girlfriend shit. You are the other woman!
And I looked over at one of his other mates who was like, don't do anything. Like, just, it's all good. Don't panic. And I was just like, I started welling up, and she turns around and laughs in my face. And I was just like, what? I said to the girls in the mosh, some just like random people, I'm like, my boyfriend just kissed his girl best friend on the forehead in front of me.
Oh.
And they were all like, and apparently after I left, they were all giving him the stink eye all night. So
good.
If you girls are watching,
good.
Thank you.
We'll give him the stink eye too. Ready? That's my best stink eye. Show me your best stink eye.
Anyway, so I left, and I was expecting him to come after me and like apologize, but of course he didn't. That night, I went through his phone because I was like, what the heck is in here? And I found messages of him talking about me to her and saying things like, I'm sorry that I had to invite Jaden to the markets. I wish he didn't come. All this stuff. And I was just like, what the hell? I took screenshots, sent them to myself, confronted him the next day, and he apologized and even said that he would stop talking to this girl. We even drove to her house the next day so he could go upstairs and like,
it's not good enough.
Her, no, that's not okay. We're not going to be friends anymore, like at least close friends anymore. A few weeks after that, I see a message from her pop up, and I was like, what the heck? Open it, they've been talking again. And he sent her this long message saying, Jane was in the wrong. I told her off. He told me off for being so dramatic and trying to make me make a choice and stuff. And I was just like, what the heck? Confronted him, and he said that him and his mum put this message together to send to her because, like, it wasn't okay what I did. And I was like, if you had told your mum the whole story, I guarantee you she wouldn't be saying that's okay. And of course, I stick around for even longer. It was a dragged out relationship. It was doomed. I eventually was able to give myself what I was hoping to get from him and left. It literally made me feel like I was going crazy and like I was the one doing the wrong thing. What would you do if you started dating someone and they had a girl best friend?
I mean, it's different when it's a girl best friend that he like kisses on the forehead and goes to like the farmer's market with her all the time. Like every Saturday, like be freaking for real, dude. Like... So wait, so you were this guy's girlfriend and this girl knew that you guys were dating. Yeah, man, she's trying to swoop in there, trying to grab him, and he's trying to play both of you at the same time. They both suck, in my opinion. But I'm sure he was also kind of like leading her on and making her think that he was gonna leave you for her and all of these other things. You can have him at that point, right though? Sloppy seconds, dude. This is not the type of person that you wanna fight for. I'm just saying. It's the type of person that you block and never talk to again, okay? Even the people that you didn't know that were in the mosh pit could recognize the situation and recognize that's just not a situation you want to be in. I do think men and women can be friends. I do think that it's possible, but I also think that there has to be like boundaries, and there certainly can't be, like, I feel more comfortable if it's a girl best friend that's married or has a boyfriend. Less comfortable when she's single and they're hanging out every week and they insist upon hanging out every week.
My ex did the weirdest thing possible when he cheated on me, because yes, apparently he was the one that needed payback. This is dating back about 5 years ago when I worked on an animation team in Spain and I lived and worked with my ex. Think like below deck level drama. He was actually literally Gary. You know, like hot but ugly, charismatic, yeah, cheats on you all the time. That type.
So you know how I can tell sometimes when a dude is a cheater? Either he's so good looking and used to be not as good looking and loves the attention, or he's not as good looking and he does it to feed his ego. You're not even safe from the ugly ones, guys. You just gotta laugh at that point.
After I found out he cheated on me with one of the guests, which happened all the time, he decided he was mad at me for being mad at him. This was also like the 10th time he cheated on me that summer. And all with guests. So I had to like serve these guests the next day after them pretty much sleeping in my bed the night before with my boyfriend.
Yikes.
The whole team went out on a night out that night. We kind of done that all the time and we brought guests with us. So we were just having a few drinks. We were out at like one of the bars in the town and he was sitting across from me and we were actually with like German guests this time, and he was German, by the way. And I started flirting with one of the guests to kind of piss him off. But I was like to the guest, oh, how would you say beautiful in German? And he said it, and then I was like, oh, danke. And that just set him off. Like, that was it. He was like done. He sat glaring at me for a while across the table, and then he decided to finally get up. And he came around to my chair. And this was in front of everyone, by the way. So he came around and he was behind my chair. And he was like, I'm going to give you 10 seconds to get up and go home. Or I'm going to flip your chair upside down. And like, okay, I actually think you need therapy. I actually sat there ignoring him because what are you actually gonna do? You're 5'7", mate. This was like the most toxic relationship I was ever in. Stuff like this happened probably 3 times a week, I'd say. The German guest actually gave out to him and put him in a taxi and just like sent him home because he was just making a show of himself in front of everyone. He was way too drunk. This is where things start to get a bit weird. I went home with the German guests in a taxi a few hours later and they walked me to my apartment. And on animation teams, because I've worked on quite a few and it's always like the same setup, like you kind of all share, all your apartments are kind of right beside each other. Went to go open my door, which is like neighbour and he's like my next door neighbour, and the door was barricaded shut. So this man went into his own apartment after being sent home in the taxi, after threatening me in front of everyone, hops over the wall, opens my back door, comes in, and what does he do? Oh, he goes to my wardrobe and he gets every single piece of clothing in that wardrobe and scatters it around the entire apartment. Like, I'm sorry, what? I still don't understand the logic behind that, so if any men are watching this, please let me know why you done that. I think it's just small energy. I think he was like making a point that he didn't like me getting dressed up. So that's why he was like trying to ruin all my clothes.
Or he was just throwing a temper tantrum and playing the victim. It could have been something to do with, oh, like I don't like that you can dress up and like other guys can look at you. Ergo, he's a cheater and he thinks that you're cheating or something like that. But it also could have just been one of those like really annoying meltdowns where cheaters just like cry and scream like toddlers when they get found out. Could have been something like that. I mean, he kind of sounds like the type of person who would do that.
He was asleep. Literally passed out cold, unbothered king after just destroying his girlfriend's apartment. So the next day on our break, he came over and apologised to me, and I just said, go back and clean everything up. So I got to sit on the bed and just boss him around while he cleaned everything up and put everything back the way it was.
Yes, queen behavior.
Romantic, so I did get back with him. He did actually cheat on me a few days later though. I found an earring on his dressing table and he tried to play it off like it was mine.
So remember what I said before about inviting people who cause chaos in your life into your life? Let's all collectively decide that if the stress that they cause outweighs the good, it's probably best if they weren't in your life. This kind of toxicity is so crazy to me. I don't know if I've ever been in a toxic relationship like this. It's like somewhat toxic. I've been in toxic friendships like this. Relationships though, not so much. It's never made sense to me. I understand how you could be driven to a point to be in a toxic relationship like this. It's just the flip-flopping, right? It's like they act so crazy and then they're so nice, act so crazy, then so nice. And like, I can understand the cycle, but like, I've never been driven to that point. I always get really, really freaked out and block them if they do crazy shit like this. But it's very clear that he is your ex for a reason. Siscat!